I created a 15-day unit plan on IEP goals for my special education students. The subject areas that will be covered in my unit plan include reading, math, and writing. My unit plan is going to cover 4 different IEP goals, including a reading goal, 2 math goals, and a writing goal. For the reading goal, my students will be working on finding the main idea of a text, 3 details to support the main idea, and summarizing the text. My students are also going to be working on fluently multiplying 2-digit by 2-digit numbers. The second math goal that my students are going to be working on is adding and subtracting 3-digit numbers. For the writing goal, they will be working on writing 1 paragraph, which includes a topic sentence, 4 complete sentences, 2 transition words, and a concluding sentence. All of the goals my students are going to be working on are connected to Common Core standards for 4th and 5th grade. There are also several technology standards that are covered in my unit plan from the International Society for Technology and Education, also known as ISTE. Some of the standards include being an empowered learner, a digital citizen, a knowledge constructor, and a creative communicator. Throughout my unit plan, there are many different types of technology that will be used, including Chromebooks, a document camera, iPads, and a smartboard. There are many different websites and apps that will be used in my unit plan, including YouTube, Educ Creations, Google Classroom, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Kami, Google Read and Write, QR codes, ST Math, and Front Row. Throughout my unit plan, all 8 of Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences will be addressed, including verbal, interpersonal, bodily kinesthetic, intrapersonal, naturalist, visual spatial, musical, and logical mathematical. It is important that lessons are created in order to reach all students and their different strengths. Here are some examples of activities that are in my unit plan to address all 8 of the multiple intelligences. For my reading lessons, the students will use Google Classroom to access a graphic organizer, and they will open it using the website Kami. On Kami, they are able to type directly onto the graphic organizer using their Chromebooks, and then they can submit it to Google Classroom. They will be completing this activity with a partner. This activity is beneficial to students with visual, intrapersonal, verbal, and kinesthetic intelligences. Students will also be using QR codes throughout my unit plan. For example, students will have a QR code that they will scan using their Chromebooks or iPads, and a YouTube video will open for them to see. For the reading lessons, they will watch a video that explains how to find the main idea and supporting details of a text. For math lessons, they will watch videos with songs that help them remember the steps to solving multiplication and addition and subtraction problems. QR codes are beneficial for students with visual and intrapersonal intelligences. The songs that they will be listening to after scanning the QR code are beneficial for students with musical intelligence. My students will also be using Google Read and Write throughout many of the lessons. There are many features on Google Read and Write, including text-to-speech, speech-to-text, text and picture dictionaries to see the meaning of words, word prediction, highlighting features, voice notes, and many other features. My students will be using Google Read and Write during our writing lessons. They will use it to dictate their writing onto a Google Doc and for research. Google Read and Write is beneficial to students with verbal, interpersonal, and intrapersonal intelligences. My students will also utilize the app Educ Creations throughout my unit plan. They will use Educ Creations to create presentations on their reading and writing, and they will present it to the class. Students with visual, interpersonal, and kinesthetic intelligences will benefit from this activity. Throughout my unit plan, my students will be listening to classical music while they are completing their projects and assignments. When students listen to music while they are working, it helps them with their attention and memory. My students will also be creating their own songs to help them remember the steps to completing their multiplication and addition and subtraction problems, which will benefit students with musical intelligence. My students will also be completing an activity where they will be using their Chromebooks to research different endangered species. They will come up with a list of endangered species, and then they will pick one to do further research on and complete a writing activity about it. Students with natural intelligence will benefit most from this activity. My students will also be going on a QR code adventure, which will benefit students with visual, intrapersonal, kinesthetic, interpersonal, and logical intelligences. Students will work in groups, and they will be assigned task cards with QR codes on them. They will scan the QR code, and they will find a short passage to read. After they read the passage, they will work together to determine the main idea and supporting details, and they will type the information they find on a Google Doc. My students will also be completing an activity where they will be assigned digital task cards on Google Classroom, and they will use the task cards to complete multiplication problems using the area model on their Chromebooks. It is important to teach students different strategies to completing math problems, as one strategy might work well for one student but not for another. This activity will be beneficial for students with visual, intrapersonal, and kinesthetic intelligences. It is incredibly important that teachers do their best to integrate technology into their everyday lessons. Not only does technology make lessons more exciting for students, it can truly help them understand the content better. It is also important that teachers plan their lessons based on the multiple intelligences and that they do their best to use different types of technology and strategies that will be beneficial to students with each of the intelligences.